Hello. Can everybody hear me? Let me know because I've got my mic here. We're set up. I was having some issues with the camera, so I wanted to make sure that all worked out. So just let me know if everything is working well. But I wanted to say, hey, hi. I feel like it's been a long time since I've been on my live stream Q&A here. And it's always fun to talk to you guys. I got so many questions from my premium subscribers this week, which is so much fun. We're going to have a lot to talk about, which is awesome. So if you didn't know this already, if you become a premium subscriber of my Substack newsletter, you will get access to a ton of exclusive content, including being able to submit questions for my live stream Q&As. And I do these once a month. And I also have my book club, as well as exclusive weekly articles and just a lot of other stuff. So you should definitely check it out. It's classicallyabby.substack.com. And in fact, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. We are, for my book club, for a while, what I was doing was private live streams on YouTube, and people could comment on the side and I would respond and we would have a conversation. But this past week, what we did and what we're going to continue doing in the future are Zoom calls. So actual Zoom calls with you guys, with the people who subscribe to my Substack newsletter, and I get to talk to you, which is awesome. And I had such a good time at our last book club. I know a few of you guys in the comments here were there, and that was really fun. So I really encourage you, if you haven't already subscribed, to do so, because our book club is great, but also there's, like I said, a lot of other perks. So you should definitely check it out. So good to see so many of you guys in the comments. I saw someone say, I didn't actually realize that Ben's book club is tonight at the exact same time. So that might be something I'll have to consider moving forward in the future, that we don't overlap. But that is funny. I know he has a book club. I just didn't know what time it was at. Someone also asked, when is my due date? My due date is at the end of March. So I am about 9 weeks away from little boy being due. And that's really exciting. You can probably already hear I'm out of breath. Every time I do a video or I come on to a live stream and I'm just talking, I'm very much out of breath. And I appreciate all of you guys for saying that, or the few of you who have said that I am glowing. I have not been feeling glowing lately. We are in the process of moving, which is why there's literally nothing in the background here. We are moving, and it means that I am exhausted. So once the move is over, I'm so excited because I can actually start cleaning and nesting and getting the nursery ready. But as it is, it's just kind of bringing things from one place to another. And someone had asked as well, like, why are we moving again? Well, the reason we are moving is because we had some issues in this house that we're currently in, because we are actually still in the old house, because that's where the internet is, with mice. And it was the worst. And with a newborn coming, we didn't want to have to deal with that. So we are moving so that we don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's see. Some of you guys are submitting questions, and I absolutely love that. If you guys want to submit questions for future Q&As, make sure to subscribe to my Substack so that you can. I'm not going to answer anything really intense here. From you guys here, I'm going to answer the questions from my premium subscribers. That's one of the perks of becoming a premium subscriber of my Substack. So I'm reading some of your guys' comments. Well, Gabriel says that he found out about me because of my brother, and he loves Mozart and classical music because of, like us. Well, that's awesome. As you guys know, I am a classical opera singer. That is what I have all my degrees in. So that's really cool. I keep almost dropping my phone in case you were wondering what that sound was. Let's see. Thank you so much for your prayers for the baby and for us. We really appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Let's see. And also, let's give a big shout out, big thank you to our moderator tonight. We have somebody moderating the comments, and that is really great. So thank you for that. Thank her for that. Let's see. Before we get into the questions, just scrolling through your guys' comments. I love seeing what you have to say. Yeah, someone said that Melissa said her parents dealt with mice when she was born. Terrible. It is so stressful. It is just awful. It's disgusting. And the new place that we're moving to has not had an issue with that before. And so they shouldn't have an issue moving forward, which is great. Okay. I think I am going to get into the questions now, but first I need to take a sip of water. Hello from NYC. Hello, Francine. Okay. So let's get into these questions because there are a lot. Okay. So the first question I got is, hi, Abby. I'm experiencing lots of hormonal breakouts due to my own pregnancy. Do you have any advice on managing them? I noticed that you broke out a little bit as well. And as someone who suffers from acne their whole life, it's very discouraging to finally get control over it due to medication and retinol. But then pregnancy throws a whole curveball at you. I'm very glad that it's a sign that the baby is growing and healthy, but I also don't want to stress unnecessarily. Thanks ahead of time. So that is a great question. I don't have the best answer for you. So if you guys didn't know, I had struggled with bad acne up until the point I was about 22. Like between 16 and 22 were the worst time for me with acne. And then I got it solved working with a dermatologist. I have a whole video on my channel about like the skincare regimen that I've done to deal with that. I never took anything orally. I took everything. I did a topical treatments. So I totally understand your struggle. The idea that like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed because I've worked so hard to get my skin clear and now my skin is breaking out again. I felt similarly, but what I recognized is that it was temporary. So I didn't do any special treatments. There are certain things you can get that are safe to put on during pregnancy. So if you need to go see your dermatologist and say, I'm pregnant, but I have some acne, are there things I can do to treat it? You can absolutely ask those questions. I had some of those, but eventually at some point I was just like, you know what? My skin's going to do what it's going to do. It's hormonal and it's going to pass. And it did. By the time I got to the middle of the second trimester, even a little bit earlier, like it was mostly gone. I'm starting to get a little bit more again, which is funny. I don't know if that's normal in the third trimester or not, but I'm starting to just get a few more breakouts. And I think it's just something you have to realize is going to be temporary. It will go away. And it's very linked to what's going on in your body, which is really different when you're trying to figure out like, what is the source of my acne and how do I fix it? It's very clear what the source is of your acne when you're pregnant. So don't beat yourself up about it. Don't worry about it too much. It will go away because it's temporary since it has to do with your baby and the hormones. And just find makeup and things that make you feel good so that you don't feel self-conscious. Or like I said, you can talk to your dermatologist. That's my response to that. Okay. Let's see. Someone is asking about my hair. So thank you so much. It's very nice. I think I talked about this a couple of videos ago in my 100,000 like celebration. I hit 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So thank you guys for that. So when I hit 100,000 subscribers, I did a Q&A answering some questions. And one of the questions was how I do my hair like this. And I recently made a very large purchase that I'm really happy about and I feel really grateful for. And that was a Dyson Airwrap. Now, I don't feel like I need any of my other hair tools anymore, which is like amazing. But it gives you this like really intense volume and these beautiful curls. So I use that. I also use the like straightening one for straightening my hair. And I use the straightening brush and I use like the round brush. It's a really fantastic product. It's really expensive. So if you don't want to do that, you can get like a large barrel curling iron and just curl your hair sort of away from your face. So if that makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Oh, you ordered the Dyson Airwrap. Well, enjoy it. I love it. It's amazing. Okay, next question. How do you think you will modify your exercise routine when baby Roth is born? Um, so, I was thinking about this, and for me, first of all, not expecting to exercise right away. Like, I'm not expecting to get like my body back right away. I don't think that there should be this pressure on women to like be, looking like that immediately. It's just not reasonable. So no. But for my own physical health, for my own physical, like how I'm feeling and like wanting to feel well and good in my body, I'm definitely going to continue to exercise, but probably not right away since my body's going to need some time to recover. But once I'm past the recovery point, I'm gonna walk a lot. I'm gonna have little man on my chest if I'm decide to do the baby carrier while I'm walking, or I'll have him in the stroller. So lots of walks, which will be good for him and it'll be good for me. And then I would like to continue strength training and yoga. I really enjoy yoga a lot if it makes me feel like good in my body. But I also really do love strength training. So I think that I'm going to try and continue to do that. The question will be, how do I continue to do strength training with a baby? Like, can I bring him to the gym? Probably not. So I'll have to figure out, either work out my schedule so that I can, have my husband or somebody like watch the baby while I go exercise at the gym, or if I can start just doing more at home workouts and maybe buy some like weights and things. But I do want to maintain a physical fitness lifestyle. I think it's important for us all to do that. So I'm going to continue to do that, but I just need to figure out exactly how that's going to look when I have a little boy to take care of and to watch. Um, so someone was asking, is this live going to be uploaded onto my channel? Yes, it will. After I do my lives, I always post them onto my channel right after. So it will be available. Well, I appreciate that so many people are being so complimentary about the Dyson Airwrap. It really is great. I really enjoy it. Okay, next question. Do you plan? Okay, actually, before I say this question, I got this question 3 times from you guys in different iterations. So clearly top of mind and totally makes sense. Do you plan to keep your upload schedule throughout the rest of the pregnancy and after the baby comes? It seems like a lot of work. So I understand the question. I am wondering myself exactly how that's going to look. But essentially my plan is to pre-record about 6 weeks worth of content now, so that when I have the baby, I have 6 weeks off of recording videos. And then I'll still at least have something going up on my channel. Will it be 2 videos every week for those 6 weeks? I don't know. It might be more like 1 video each week, because that would mean recording 12 videos in advance, which the reason it's difficult is not just recording and editing 12 videos in advance. It's trying to record 12 videos in advance that aren't relevant to me right at this second now, which will then be outdated by the time I post it, in 10 weeks from now. So I have to be kind of aware of some of content that would still be relevant in 10 weeks. And that's a lot of videos in a row that don't pertain to me at this moment in time. So I have to think about that content in advance. That is my initial thought. So I might do 1 video every week, or maybe do like 1 video a week and then 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1. So that's the YouTube channel. For my Substack, I will be staying up to date as far as I can tell. There might be like a week off or 2 weeks off, but mostly I will be staying up to date on my content for my Substack, so that you guys are paying for content so that you guys continue to get content. I'll just have to think about, okay, like what do I want to record in advance? And also it is easier in a lot of ways to do a podcast. I don't have to get myself ready before I film. So it's just like me talking into the mic, which is a lot nicer. And then writing, like a lot of stuff can happen while I'm just like behind the scenes looking like a mess. Like I don't have to worry about getting myself all ready for a video, which is nice. I will do my best though. I would love to continue to keep up the content. Um, so thank you guys so much. A lot of people are asking, or just like being sweet here. Saying like asking how I am. I'm good. I'm good. I'm tired. I'm good. This third trimester, it's fun because baby moves around all the time, and that's just literally it's the best feeling. I don't think there's anything better. But it is tiring. Your body is just like, whoo, like this is a lot. um, so, but it is good. And I'm getting really excited about baby and meeting him. And I'm getting excited because my baby shower is coming up. Um, Speaking of which, I just wanted to give a huge thank you. I don't know if any of you guys are watching, to the people who did buy me some things off of my baby registry. There was no pressure to do that. There is no pressure to do that. No one has to do that. Okay. But some people had asked, and I linked it or I said, like, you can Instagram DM me for the link in my baby registry video. And some people were super generous, and it was just really, really nice. So I just want to say thank you. Again, no pressure at all. Like, don't feel that you have to do that. But I just wanted to say, like, that was very, very sweet. Okay. Deep breath. Let's keep going. The last part of that last question, which I didn't say at this point, was any advice for those who have to work while pregnant? So obviously there's a difference between working from home and working in an office. So my experience is going to be different from someone's experience who's in an office. My experience is going to be much more relevant to somebody who's working remotely. But for me, what I've had to kind of recognize is my advice is just give yourself some grace. Like, you're going to be tired some days, you're going to be overwhelmed some days. So get done what you have to get done, work hard, but also recognize that there's going to be some times that something is going to slip through the cracks. And that is okay as long as it's like, you account for it. But just be gentle with yourself, because it can be really hard when you're working and you're pregnant to feel like you have so many things on your plate. And I think it's really important to just say, yes, I have a lot on my plate, and that's okay. And I don't need to like make myself crazy about it. I'm trying to think if there's any other like practical advice. I think I would say just take smart breaks. I think that's a good piece of advice, is like, use your time effectively and wisely. And if you are feeling tired, use that time not to scroll or get on your phone, but to rest or meditate or do something that will actually be effective at gearing you up for the next thing you have to do. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you think you will do a parent type of content because the world is pretty scary? I'm reading someone's comment here. So that is a really good question. I would love to answer it, but I'm not going to answer it here because I'm only answering my premium subscriber questions. If you are interested in becoming a premium subscriber so you can submit questions like that, please feel free to head over to classicallyabby.substack.com. It's really not an expensive investment. It's about $70. It's $70 a year if you decide to do the premium subscription, which means you get 2 months for free, or you can spend $7 and get just the monthly fee, which is like as much as an expensive Starbucks drink. So if you like those fancy Starbucks drinks and you drink them more than once a month, if you have them twice a month, maybe only have once a month and then get a subscription. Oh my gosh. Okay. So next question is, do you have any desire to write a book? And if so, what do you think it would be about? So I would love to write a book. And I feel like I have so many ideas for different books that I would love to write. But my initial thing that I think like comes right off the top of my head is to write the classic girl's guide. And I would probably split it up into a few different sections. I would probably split it up into like practical things like tips and tricks and style, fashion, cleaning, that kind of thing, cooking, and then a section that's like more internal and how to work on becoming more classic as a woman over time, about how, being classic it is this external thing, but it's really more of an internal thing. And I think it's very easy to get caught up in the trappings in the same way as femininity, right? Femininity isn't just about your hair and your makeup. It's about like, how do you express femininity inside? So I would love to write a book about something like that. I think that would be just like, I'm somebody who loves lists, who loves practical advice, who loves tips. So like reading a book like that would really appeal to someone like me. And they always say you want to make videos for people, you want to make videos that you yourself would watch. You want to write books that you yourself would read. So that's what I would be interested in reading, and that's what I would like to do. Okay, guys, before we continue, I'm gonna take a photo for my Instagram story. You guys in the comments here are now in it so that I can share it and let people know to come hop over and watch us now. So live stream Q&A right now. So, okay, now let's go on to the next question. I've got so many questions and I'm not sure which one to do next. We'll do an easy one next. Hello, Abby. Love receiving your newsletters. Thank you. I'm very glad. My question for the Q&A is, what is your favorite biblical baby name? And do you think you will choose one for your baby? I hope and pray everything goes well with your baby. Well, thank you. We will take all prayers that we can. So thank you so much. There's a lot of biblical names that I love. We're not going to share the baby's name on line. We decided that was not going to be something that we're public about. But I can tell you a bunch of names that we like. There's so many. I mean, oh my gosh, biblical names are fantastic. They stand the test of time. So basically, here's what I'll say. Okay. So I don't know if anyone here has seen the movie Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I've talked about it on my channel before. It is one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love it. So if you have, then you will know there are 7 brothers and the mother named them alphabetically using Bible names. And so their names are Adam, Benjamin, Caleb, Daniel, Ephraim, Frank, and Gideon. All of those names are amazing. Although they do mention in the movie that Frank is not actually a biblical name. Francis is a biblical name, so that's his real name, but he goes by Frank. But all of those names are beautiful, are fantastic, are amazing people in the Bible. And so, yes, those are the kinds of names that I really love. So I think that there's a lot of beautiful names in the Bible. Miriam is gorgeous for a girl. Rachel is gorgeous for a girl. Biblical names are beautiful. Sound of Music is fun. People are talking about it here in the comments. Okay, so. Okay, let's do this one. I've just finished reading The Coddling of the American Mind, which I hadn't read, actually. I asked my husband before, what that was, and then I looked it up. Apparently, this was another book written by Jonathan Haidt. If you guys didn't know, I did a whole video on my channel about his book, The Righteous Mind, and that's a great book. So this is another book he wrote, and wrote with someone else, I believe. And the question is, any thoughts on the overall decline of people's mental health, especially in young people? I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think that, mental health is obviously something that people have struggled with through millennia, but it is very different nowadays. So with the first place I want to start is talking about how, in the past, we were talking about people's meaning and purpose to be alive was survival. People needed to make it through winter. I was listening to a podcast about the history of Halloween, and a big part of why October 31st was scary was that it was the beginning of winter. and people were just scared and hoping they would make it through wintertime. And we, as people in today's day and age, we are so blessed. We don't have to worry about surviving. We don't have to worry in general. We don't have to worry about, are we going to be able to have enough food? Are we going to freeze? Like, we are very, very lucky nowadays to not have to worry about that. But what that means is that our meaning and purpose has to be a lot more in depth. We have to understand ourselves and what we need out of life, as opposed to just, we need to make it. we need to stay alive. When you're searching for meaning and purpose, that is kind of that's how we all are living. People need a meaning and purpose. That is innate to human nature. So what today, people are searching for meaning and purpose in all the wrong places. We're told that we need to find meaning and purpose in all of these ways that have not stood the test of time. That we know that tradition works, right? We know that there are certain traditions that work and that bring people fulfillment. As I talk about in my channel all the time, faith, family, community. Those three things pretty much guaranteed to give you meaning and purpose. This other stuff that we're taught nowadays, these other things that we have to like make from scratch, empowerment, with the big air quotes around it, and like do you, and just all these things that don't actually bring meaning and fulfillment and will give people anxiety because they don't have a real path for why they're even here. They're pursuing meaningless pleasures instead of pursuing meaningful life outcomes and goals. And so when we're taught to do that from like college, right? College is like, oh, everyone goes here and parties. That is not going to make you feel good about yourself. That's not going to make you feel strong in your fulfillment. It's like, why am I here? Like, it's nihilistic. And that, I think, is what causes a lot of anxiety and problems with mental health in young people. So those are my thoughts. I think that there's obviously a lot more to be said on this topic, but mental health in young people, it's hard because we aren't giving them the tools to look at the world through the perspective of what is really important. And that immediately is going to make you feel so much less good about yourself, so much less purposeful. So just this existential like nihilism of why am I here? And there's not a really good reason for it because you're just pursuing just the fleeting pleasures of now. And of course, if you're just pursuing the fleeting pleasures of now, you're going to feel absolutely awful. And I say this as somebody who has experienced it, not as somebody who's judging it from the outside. So those are my thought processes. Okay. That's what I think about mental health in young people. Okay. So, let's think. We've got a couple more minutes here. Like I said, I got so many great questions. So thank you guys again for doing this, for sending in so many good questions. I got some practical questions just about like what we're planning on doing after the baby comes. Who will you have to support you after your son arrives? So my husband will be here. That is the beautiful benefit of being married and having my husband here with me. He will be a huge help. My mom is also going to come and help with the baby. She is kind of like the best person to come and just like take care of the house and cook everything. And I never have to worry about getting stuff done if she's here. So I'm sure she will be a huge help. And I'm really looking forward to her being here. And also because she can give me just some perspective on I'm sure that the first few days are going to be really hard, like really beautiful, but really hard. And so it's always good to have, one of those women who's been through it who can say, this is all temporary. It's all going to be fine. Things are going to, change in a few days. So embrace the little newborn now and you'll be getting a little more sleep in a few more days. So that's really what I'm glad that my mom's going to be here too. Then I got the question, are you planning to put your son in daycare or have a nanny? And do you plan to discuss the challenges of the postpartum period on your channel? So I am not planning at this point to put my son in daycare or have a nanny. That was kind of one of the big reasons why I wanted to have a job like this, where I could be at home. I want to be able to take care of him while I am working. And I'm not saying that's going to be easy. I'm sure that there will be many challenges with that. But hopefully, like, I will have, familial support. And if I need help, I can reach out to my community and that kind of thing. We will see, though. I recognize that many things can change, but that is my goal. I want to be here with my son and be as participatory as I can with him, and also continue doing this. If that means that 6 months down the line, I realize, okay, I need more help, or I need to be more deliberate with my time, then I will do that. And then the other question was, do I plan to discuss the challenges of the postpartum period on my channel? Of course, I'm very open on my channel about everything. I feel like I've been very open about the challenges of my pregnancy while also being very, very positive about it. I mean, I think that's the thing. And I think this is the problem with so much of the content out there, is that a lot of things are mentioned, like the difficulties, but it's all from a really negative perspective. Whereas, for me, the challenges of pregnancy, I want to make sure those are spun in a positive way, because that's how I feel. Like, my body, is tired and things are heavy, but I'm so grateful that I get to carry my baby and grow him and birth him. Like, that to me is the overarching narrative in my head. And I want that to be the overarching narrative in your guys' minds too, is that yes, there are challenges, but those challenges are so worth it. And it's not something that has to be looked at like, I can't do this, or like, oh my God. It's like, no, there are challenges, but it's okay. Like, things are challenging in life. Like, that is just how things go. And that's also fine, as long as you view it from that correct and positive perspective. So I will be honest about my postpartum period. I will be honest about how difficult things can be, but I'm also so grateful. So I already know that I will be sharing that, but with the intention of also showing how I really feel about it, which is positive. I don't feel negative about any of this stuff. I really do feel like God has given me a huge, huge gift here. So I just don't want to make this into something that's like a big, whining spree, because it isn't to me. This isn't something that I could ever look at and be like, wow, I'm not grateful for it. So that's kind of my intention. Okay. Last question. Okay. So we're going to do this one and then we're going to call it a night, friends. So I'm one of your male viewers. I love your content and I found out about you through Lauren Chen. Cool. My questions are, what is your take on opposite sex friendships and opposite sex friendships when you're single versus in a relationship or married? So I have a lot of thoughts on this as well. And he asked about making a series on this. I could totally see making a video on this. I would need a long time to discuss this topic. So my opinions on this have changed over time. I think I used to be slightly more flexible on it. I used to be like, oh, I guess maybe you could have a friend who's of the opposite gender. No. As I've gotten older, I've realized, a lot of things about this. And I think that especially if you're married, you should not be having a friendship alone with someone of the opposite sex. So for example, My husband and I we are friends with a lot of couples. I can be friends with the husband, he can be friends with the wife, but it's in the context of we're all going out to dinner together and spending time together. He would never go out to dinner alone with the wife. I would never go out to dinner alone with the husband. Like that would just not happen. And that is how it should be, in my opinion. You don't want to have. So we recently read The Joy of Intimacy for my book club. Really highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out. And I also was talking about this with the rabbi's wife. We study together sometimes. And, there's this big push in our culture to desexualize the relationships between men and women. It's actually a really negative thing. It's like we're telling, people in puberty, kids in puberty, that it is unnatural for them to respond in a certain way when they are put in a situation which would have sexual undertones. Like that just does. So why would we do that? It's not good for, first of all, it's just not realistic. But second of all, it's good to have sexual feelings in the right context. So to take those sexual feelings away completely and say like, oh, well, this is just not a sexual thing ever. Like that's not good for the relationships between husbands and wives, for example. So for example, I gave this example in book club. I was at a dinner when I was in my master's and a guy went to the bathroom. There were like 10 of us. And he came back and all of a sudden he started like massaging one of the girl's shoulders. Like just he stood behind the table because you know how sometimes you like come back and you want to talk to the other half of the table that you weren't sitting at. And he started massaging one of the girl's shoulders. And I just remember thinking like, she has to accept this as normal and he has to accept this as normal. And we're not supposed to like question, is this appropriate? Like if I were put in that situation, like would that be something that I have to just be like, oh yeah, that's not sexual at all? When in my opinion, that is like a sexual situation to put yourself in. It's not appropriate. So the question of is opposite sex friendships. The problem is there's always going to be, even if you're not the one feeling something towards a guy, he may be feeling something towards you. There's always the risk that there is going to be one person who is more invested in that relationship than the other. And in marriages, that is totally off limits. Now, for singles, here's my thoughts on singles. Hang out in groups. If you want to have a friend who is an opposite sex of you, that is actually can be good because when you hang out in groups, what may end up happening is that maybe that's how you end up dating someone, is like that friendship turns into something more because you guys are hanging out and you guys are all together and you're not being put into a situation where you are alone with each other as friends, but now you're like, oh, does one of us like the other person more? But you can't really talk about it because like, isn't that going to make me judged? Opposite sex friendships are confusing and they are not helpful. So having an opposite sex friendship as a single person where you guys are going out alone, that is a date. To one of you, that will be a date. One of you may not view it as a date, and that makes sense. But the other person may. And why would you make things that complicated? Why would you make things that confusing for yourself? It's just inappropriate and it can lead to confusion and emotional stakes. But if you guys are all hanging out in groups and you kind of are friends with, some of the guys in the group and whatever, he's friends with some of the girls in the group, and then all of a sudden maybe you start to like each other and then you're dating, like that's good. That's normal. Like you guys start to date because you were friends first. But going out alone when you guys are opposite sex friends and expecting that to stay totally neutral is just not realistic. And it isn't a good idea. Someone's feelings are going to get hurt. That is it. That's what my views are on that stuff. I'm looking at some of your comments. Yeah, and look, I get it. I'm like, this is a strong stance to take. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me. And when I was young and not married, I had guy friends, and I will say nothing happened. Like, I had guy friends who I would go out alone with, and it was fine. But I am starting to be of the mindset that it's just better for us to actually view, sexual relationships and sexuality with more of an eye towards, like, let's embrace that so that we can put it in its correct place. Let's put, my husband and me can have sexual feelings for each other. That's very good. And that's how it should be. But I shouldn't ever be putting myself in a situation where that could happen with someone who isn't my husband. That's it. That is it. So that is it for today's live stream Q&A. Got some really good questions today, and I absolutely loved seeing you guys in the comments. You guys wrote some great comments here. I would love if those of you who asked questions today would consider becoming premium subscribers of my Substack newsletter, so you can get access to a ton of exclusive content, including submitting questions for these live streams. I would love that. As well, just as a reminder, our book club selection for this month is Catch 22, which I've never read. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And we will be doing a Zoom call at the end of the month to discuss. So we will actually be able to chat with each other, which is really cool. That, I think, is it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.